Hello everyone, thank you for visiting my channel again today. This is Sandy from We Are Talk of Thailand. Today's video is about Facebook Marketplace. For those of you that know it well, it's a fantastic place for linking up buyers and sellers of all sorts of things and putting them in touch with each other and allowing them to sell online. Absolutely perfect. I've used it many times myself successfully. Unfortunately, wherever a lot of this e-commerce is going on, there is also a lot of scams and other sometimes more serious undertones to what's going on happening in the Facebook Marketplace and the other Facebook groups that are involved with buying and selling, of which there are several on my Facebook anyway that I've linked into. In my time on Facebook, I've seen a lot of scams. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the ones that I see and the ones that I consider the most dangerous. However, I am sure that I don't catch them all, and scammers have got a way of developing a little bit quicker than the organizations that are there to deter them or to try and stop them. There's always one step on. So if I don't cover anything that you know of, then please put it in the comments in the bottom of this video so that everybody becomes aware. Now, the first area that I've seen a lot of scams happening is when people ask for a deposit, and they will ask for a deposit in various forms. Many times it's perfectly legitimate. I'm not saying that everybody asking for a deposit is a scammer, but there is a lot of scammers that ask for deposits. And the sort of things that they might ask for is if you want to secure a sale, if you want to secure a purchase of something, they will tell you it's very popular and there are a lot of people interested in buying it. If you secure it, if you give them a deposit now, they will stop advertising it and stop selling it, and you will be the successful purchaser. You don't know how many people they're saying that to, and they will try and keep that up as long as possible to get as many people giving them deposits for that particular item. Many people click onto it right away and they don't do it. But if, for say, 5 to 10% do it, these scammers can make a lot of money out of getting a deposit. So be careful. And I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. But another particular strong instance I see here in Thailand, where I live, is a lot of people selling vehicles and motorbikes that are outside the immediate area around about. And what they're saying is they put this fantastic buy up, this lovely car for a good maybe 20–30% below what it's actually worth. Same with a motorbike or something. And wow, you think that's a fantastic buy. And it would be, it certainly would be. But it's outside your area. And they say, okay. And you're talking to them and they say, okay, what we can do, if you give us a deposit, we will bring the car to you and finalize it. You don't need to come to us, which might be 300 or 400 kilometers away. We'll put it on the back of a truck and we'll bring it down to you and just pay us a deposit. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to miss this car, and they pay the deposit. And of course, the car never turns up, or the motorbike never turns up. So that's another way that these deposits are forfeited through scams. So how can you actually avoid it? Well, as is in the case of many scams, it's about confirming the identity of who you're speaking to. Here, if I get asked for things like this, I will ask them, okay, if it's a Thai person, I will ask them to see their ID card. Send me a copy of their ID card. And then I will ask them how they want to be paid, which will be into a bank account. And the bank account has got to match up with the ID card. And that gives me some relative confidence that I know who I'm talking to. Or alternatively, if it's not a Thai person, I'll ask for a passport and their address, etc. So, and also golden rule: don't sell to somebody and pay money into somebody else's bank account, because then you don't know who you're dealing with. Deal with the seller, deal directly with the seller, not with the seller's brother, sister, friend, blah, blah, blah. Deal directly with the seller and get as much confidence as you can in their identity by getting their ID and confirming that who you're paying through a bank account is the same person. So you've got some real comeback. So the next area I'd like to mention where people do get ripped off also is when there is also a distance between the buyer and the seller, which is quite commonly the case. And therefore, we've got a problem. Who's going to pay the money and risk getting the item, or who's going to send the item and risk getting the money? And you've got to consider this carefully. Once again, the first rules, as I've already stated, identity. Make sure you're confident you know who you're speaking to. 95% of people are who they say they are, and they just want to sell or buy an item, and there should be no problem. I find here in Thailand that normally it's the buyer that needs to start the transaction by transferring the money. And if you know the identity and you've done all the checks, it shouldn't be a problem. But what I do personally, I say, okay, let's meet halfway. If you're going to ship this to me by whatever courier method you're going to ship this to me, I want you to take that, get it all packaged up, take it down, get the get it logged in with the courier, get the receipt, send me a copy of the receipt immediately, and don't leave the courier's office, and I will transfer the money to your account, and then the risk element has been virtually, not totally eliminated. So due diligence, think about what you're doing, take care. But just as a little aside that's just come to mind, there is still quite a large risk for the buyer in this type of exchange. And what is that? What are you actually going to receive in the post? You're not 100% confident you know what you think you're buying. Just let me tell you something here. Yet another story that I've heard on several occasions is that when the item that you're buying is not as described, i.e., it might be a copy, particularly in things like telephones, etc. Here in Thailand, we get inundated with copy telephones from China, and some of them are very, very good, even down to the latest iPhones or the latest Samsungs, etc. The copies that are getting sent out are very good. The first indication I always worry about, like when I bought a couple of phones recently, actually, is that when they say they don't have a box or paperwork, etc., with it. That's an indication to me that it might be a copy and not real. They might say that if you're meeting them in person, oh, the battery's flat, I haven't been able to charge it yet, but it's a brand new phone, you've no need to worry, or it's this and that. But it's not what it's supposed to happen. The story, just another area, is what you're buying, is it what's been described in the advert? Are you happy that you are not being ripped off for something? Check that you're happy and that everything is as it should be as far as you're concerned, because it is another very, very common scam. Please, if you're enjoying this video and you're getting a lot of information that you think is pertinent and useful to you, why don't you share it with people that you know deal on Facebook and help them avoid these scams too? And I would appreciate it also if you just give the video a like and subscribe if you could. It would be appreciated. Now, the next one that is getting a bit more serious is when you're doing high value purchases. It might be a car, a motorbike, it could be jewelry, it could be anything actually. High value purchases where the seller is insisting that they will only accept cash. Now, this is an area that I don't like. I prefer doing transfers, as I said before, to people I know from my account to their account. But some people, they insist upon it's got to be a cash sale, so they know they've got the readies in their hand. For whatever reason, it might be to avoid tax, it might be they don't have a bank account, whatever, but they want cash. Immediately you start thinking about, okay, high value items, you've got a lot of cash to pay. So if you then arrange to meet up with the buyer to transfer, to give them the cash and to get the goods, they know that you're coming with the cash, a lot of cash, and that puts you at risk. Once again, identity. Make sure you know who you're meeting, who they are. Ask for some proof of identity. When you meet them, make sure you count your money and take the money from them. When you meet the buyer, be careful that they're not going to just snatch the money and go away and leave you without anything. If this happens, you've got to make sure you see the item before you hand the money over. Check that the item's what you want, and then give them the cash and let them count it, etc., and everybody will be happy. Similarly, if you're the seller, make sure you count the cash by yourself. And what I mean by that is get the hold of the cash in your hand so there's no tricks up the buyer's sleeve in that there might be folded notes in there, so it's getting counted twice, etc. Count the money yourself. Make sure that you're happy that the correct amount is there before you give them the item that you're purchasing. That they're purchasing, You know, I actually have heard of stories where there's been a negotiation going on for a cash sale where the seller has said to the buyer, look, my sister, auntie, uncle, father, someone lives very close to you. They can come and collect the cash from you, and once you've paid them, then they will phone me immediately and I will send the item to you as soon as I get confirmation that they've received the cash. Do you know that people actually fall for that? Somebody comes to the door, they give them the cash. The person at the door says, okay, let me ring my brother, sister, aunt, uncle, mother, father, whatever. They make a phone call and then they say, okay, thank you very much. They're sending it to you today. You should have it tomorrow, etc. Thank you very much for your business. And away they go. Well, you can guess the end of the story. I'll bet on that one. Another thing to be aware of, not so much a high risk, but it has happened that after the transaction is complete, they've got whatever you were selling, whether it be a telephone, a high value item, they know that you're then departing with a significant amount of cash. They might have an accomplice, etc., that's waiting for you to depart and immediately rob you of the cash that you've just obtained from the buyer. It doesn't happen often, but if you can, take somebody with you and make sure that you feel confident and safe where you're meeting them. I would suggest if you're doing something like this, you initially meet in a cafe or a bar or somewhere where there's a lot of people around about you. Get yourself buried in somewhere safe where it's not easy for somebody just to snatch your money and run off, etc. Think about these things because it can happen. It's a tough world out there. Also, even when I talk about bank transfers, there's still things you should consider there and rules that I believe you should follow. For instance, here in Thailand, as far as I know, all the banks here now, they don't do computer transfers. Everything's done on your mobile telephone. You can transfer cash, etc., on your smartphone. if you're selling something and the buyer is going to transfer cash into your account and they put it into their telephone or computer or laptop or whatever they have, okay, before you once again part with the item, make sure that that money has landed in your account. Don't just take the word of the purchaser, because you don't know what they've got rigged up on their phone. It might look good, it might look as though it's gone through, but it might not be kosher. Check that the money is actually dropped into your account before you part with the item that you're selling. If you're in a dodgy country, you know, it's a possibility that they might be paying you with counterfeit cash. Here in Thailand, I don't think that's a big problem. I don't hear many people complaining about counterfeit cash, because the maximum they've got is a 1,000 baht note, which is not significantly high. So counterfeiters don't work so much in Thailand. There are around, but not so much, and it's certainly not as big a problem as it is in other parts of the world. So if it happens a lot in the country that you're in, and there is a lot of counterfeit around, buy a couple of these counterfeit pens, where if you get a load of cash, you can go through it and just make a stroke. If it turns a slight yellow, the stroke, then you know you're good to go. You've got good cash. If it goes black, the straight little stripe with the pen, beware. You've probably got a handful of counterfeit cash. So you don't want that. The next point I want to cover is snatchers. Yes, snatchers. What are snatchers? Well, if you're selling something like a telephone or a jewelry or camera or something of relatively high value, and you meet with somebody and they say, okay, I'd like to see the item and check the item myself. So you hand over your iPhone 15 Pro or your Samsung S24 Ultra or your jewelry or your telephone or your camera rather, and they say, thank you very much, I'll just check this over. And the next minute, there's a small distraction, and then they're departing into the distance with your item, and you've received no cash. So be careful. It does happen. It happens quite regular. Snatchers are very common in many places. So it does happen. Another one that people unbelievably get caught in is test drives. Yeah, test drives. You know, this particularly obviously happens with cars, trucks, motorbikes, etc., where people will come and they'll look at the truck or the car, etc., and they'll say, can I have a test drive? And you say yes, and you don't go with them, and they drive off, and that's the last you see of your vehicle. Not happened too many times, but once again, it's known to happen. If they've come with another person and they've come in the car, obviously they go out for a test drive, the other people stay there, perfectly safe. You know it's kosher. If people seem a little bit dodgy to you, then just be careful. Just think about these risks, you know. What could possibly go wrong with what you're doing? If it could go wrong, it might go wrong. Trying to avoid other scams as well. Beware of what details you're giving to people. Do they really need to know all that they're asking? I'm not talking about general conversation about what country you're from or said, but things like emails and addresses. If they don't need to know your address and they don't need to know your email, then why give them it, you know? You should be able to give enough information over things like Facebook Messenger, for instance, or WhatsApp. If you use that, to be able to communicate and satisfy each other, and just give them the relevant information that they need to confirm who you are, and they give you enough information to confirm who they are. Then everything is absolutely perfect, and you will have a safe and happy sale, I hope. And just to sort of conclude what I'm saying, one thing to really consider, and I've had a few sad stories where people have been getting scammed, and they've actually detected it and they've tried to stop it in a robbery situation or other close contact situations where things have turned nasty and turned violent. be aware. Nothing is worse than if you lose cash, you lose cash. If you lose health, you might never get it back again. And that's what I'm saying. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can get seriously hurt, etc. And take care of yourself when you're doing these negotiations on Facebook Messenger or one of the associated groups in Facebook. Other than that, I am sure the majority of people, if you're careful and you think about what you're doing, you're not going to have any problems. But just be aware. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please note them below the video. We will be making more topical videos and will upload at least one per week. To make sure you do not miss out, please subscribe, like and ring the notification bell. That would be fantastic as it would really help our channel. See you soon.